And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, this is very strange. I understand. Welcome to Rickcast. I am the aforementioned Rick. And what are we doing here tonight? Why is there a green screen? What is happening? Well, I've decided to move away from StreamYard. It's a great platform, very easy to use. Uh, it's got a lot of bells and whistles and everything like that. But it's a lot of money a month. It's like $88 a month for the pro version. And Rumble actually has its own version embedded in its software if you're a premium member. And I am one. So they give you access to this green screen. Well, not this green screen, but the studio tool. And eventually, if you build up enough participants and live watchers, for lack of a better term, um, live viewers, you get access to ad reads and so forth. So we're going to try and build up the Rumble platform, and we're going to try and build it up using their software. And it's going to save me a couple bucks a month, so that's always a good thing as well. The green screen will not be permanent. I will figure out a way. If you use the Rumble Studio and you know how to put your background, so it's not like this the whole time. I mean, there's my background. The problem is I'm not there, so I have to figure it out. It's going to take a couple days for me to figure it out, but I will get there, and it'll be good once we actually do it. So it's going to be weird for a couple days as I mess around with all of this stuff. I was just trying to get the thing up and running tonight. But either way, we have a great show for you, and you have this magnificent green screen behind me. Until then, I know the illusion is broken, but it is what it is. If I can't get the actual green screen background to work, then what I'll do is I'll just, get some knickknacks and some things behind me to actually fill the space. But either way, if you're not trying something different, if you're not moving ahead, if you're not taking advantages of all the opportunities that are around you, you're going to fall behind. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think a lot more creators need to get invested in something like Rumble, simply because the benefits of using this platform. It is such a platform that is geared towards creators and wants to help creators grow, and it's more pro free speech than YouTube. So that's why I'm going to go more in the direction of Rumble. If you're using YouTube, that's fine. I get it. YouTube's a little bit more polished. It's got a lot more time. But as I go through the growing pains of using Rumble, it's just going to be the case. But I still got access to all the things. We're still going to get to our show tonight. We're going to talk about Al Green being censored, Gavin Newsom's shift, his shift because he's running in 2028. Everybody who said you couldn't run him, and is so. Well, real quick, somebody's asking me. Here's the thing. I don't mind. You can ask. Somebody's asking me here that familiar with the Photoshop is the layer issue you have. There's something where I guarantee you, my friend, that I don't see a button because I'm kind of dumb. In the words of my hero Tommy Boy, I'm kind of retarded. And there's some place where I am not. I'm not seeing a button that says put background into place. So it is what it is. I'll get it down though. I'll probably contact Rumble support tomorrow and they'll be like, "Hey dummy, you do this." And I'll go, "Okay." And it'll be fixed. Either way. So it'll be fine. You just get to look at me and my beautiful green screen tonight, and we'll just have to go from there. But let's see here. I got one more thing I got to do. Got to turn that off and see if that shouldn't affect anything. Perfect. So we're going to talk about Al Green being censored. We're going to talk about Gavin Newsom's shift on the trans issue because he's starting to moderate. And even Mother Jones is starting to call him out on that. The Department of Education is supposed to be shut down, but maybe it's not shut down or will be shut down. Either way, Linda McMahon is running it. So that's awesome. And then finally, Meghan Markle, because apparently the last section of this show is just me talking about how terrible reality shows are. And I guess I have to get a good set of headphones now because That's just what it is. And that's fine in that regard. So let's take a look at all of these things, and it's going to be a good time. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, help the show grow. And the see, you've had other creators have complained about the Rumble suite of products. As far as, here's the thing about, and I get it, I do get it, and I'm not in the tank for Rumble. I wish they were paying me, but they're not. But Rumble is still a brand new site, and it's growing, and it's giving people the ability to create, and it gives people to kind of do everything in one stop. Plus, if I have it already built into a program I'm using, I don't want to pay an extra $50 a month for StreamYard. StreamYard is great, but if I just put a little bit of work in on this, I can save myself $50 a month. And in this game, that's actually pretty impressive as well. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Twitch, my Mag, my producer's like, hey, it's just a green screen behind you. That's because I don't know how to. That's because I'm working on getting the background to work. I don't have it set up, but she's always looking out for me. She's like, you look dumb. We're going to look dumb tonight. So it's fine. I'm going to give it a shot. I'd like to use, if I can get the background situation taken care of, I'm actually going to be okay as far as StreamYard versus Rumble with these products. So we'll see how it goes. It's either going to be a green screen or a white screen. So you take your pick. But it's going to be a good show, and I'm going to enjoy it with you because it is going to be a good time with y'all. And like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Help me get this show to grow a little bit more. Unless you want me to continue to just sit in front of a green screen. Why would you do that to me? Why would you do that to me? Maybe you just like to see me suffer. That's okay. Some people like to. Anyway. Let's get to a couple of hot takes. I have a couple of hot takes here that we're going to work with. The first one shows that the Democratic Party is absolutely toast. 100% toast. And if they keep doing stuff like this, I don't like to say these kinds of things. If they keep doing stuff like this, then the Democrats might not actually win an election for 10 or 12 years. So check this out. Here we go. This is their response to Trump's State of the Union, is to do a TikTok trend that is about 6 weeks, not even, it's about 6 months old. But I watched it, so now you do. Here's our girl, AOC. Apparently, she's claiming that she's a Trekkie, which is kind of weird. Like, I've never heard her talk about Star Trek once, and now she's going to put Trekkie on here? Come on, BBL. That ain't funny. And you got this random girl, and you got this lady who, like, and then, of course, everybody's favorite, Jasmine Croggett's another lady that you don't know about because the left doesn't know how to be cool anymore. It knows how to recycle older, older terrible trends, and it just doesn't look good for them, especially when one of the big problems that pushed Trump to victory was the absolute disgust men had with being pushed to the side. So what does the left do? It highlights all of their leftist female politicians, especially ones like Jasmine Crockett, who is so desperate to be relevant that she is going to, do the ratchet talk and all of these kinds of things in order to get there. But hey, what are you going to do, right? So that's your first one. Absolutely terrible. It's completely brain dead and tone deaf. But what do we expect from our friends on the left? Our second hot take that we have for you tonight is the Canadians. I think our Canadian friends are not doing well right now because they think these kind of virtue signals are actually going to work. Y'all remember after 9/11, and we had some Congress people, we'll call them, stand up and say, we're going to change French fries to freedom fries. And everybody went, yeah, that's kind of lame. Don't ever talk again. That's just don't do that. Please don't. Don't do that in any way, shape, or form ever again, please. Well, apparently the Canadians, much like rock music and fashion trends, are about 10 years behind on this as well. So this is what we have. As you can see in the background, that they changed Americano to Canadiano. Canadiano. I mean, if they're going to get that mad, they should at least try to make it rhyme better. Like Americano makes sense. Canadiano sounds like somebody who got lost in a foster home and doesn't really know what they're doing in life right now. So it's once again, the Canadians are not sending their best, and they are taking this thing really bad. Now I don't know what to tell you. That's just it's a really bad look that Trump has gotten under the entire country of Canada. I mean, the guy is an excellent trash talker, but he was able to get under an entire country's skin. How impressive is that? I mean, we all know Trump is next level, but that's just insane. It's absolutely bonkers that he's able to do so. But good for him, because now the Canadians are striking back by getting rid of Americano and calling it Canadiacano or Canadiano or whatever you think that works, but it's fine. I guess. Yeah, the Canadians are hurting, man. The Canadians are hurting, and I get it. That they've been the thing is the Canadians have been getting a free ride for a long, long, long time. Like a really long time. They've been getting away with a lot. And now that America is actually at, like, if you ever looked at the tariff system that the Canadians, like, we can't export milk to Canada because they don't allow it. Milk in Canada is like $8 because they want to keep their own dairy. You can't have an American bank in Canada. You can have Canadian banks here, but you can't have a bank like, Chase Bank or whatever, the stupid big bank. You can't have those in Canada. They aren't allowed because the Canadians want to protect their own interests. But when Americans do it, when the U.S. government does it, now we're oppressive, now we're dictators, now we're all these other things. All this really has done is A, show that the Canadians really are pretty thin-skinned when it comes to things, and B, it has given Steven Crowder a license to just rip these people apart every single day, because he does. And that's what I learned this stuff this morning when he was talking about it. He's talking about the fact that American banks are not allowed in Canada. You can't export American milk to Canada because they want to have their own interests. All of these other things that they do. And the fact of the matter is, now that they're asking, and it's crazy because the thing that Trump wanted was for them to enforce their southern border, our northern border. That's what they wanted. They just wanted that done. If you could have enforced that, it would have been a lot better. But nope, the Canadians decided to tell Trump or stand up to Trump because they're all a bunch of liberal whining, libs. Now, they're not all. Obviously, there are good Canadians like Kennedy Hall, and he is doing his best to defend his country. I don't fault him in any way, shape, or form. I like to see his civic pride, but I'd also like to, congratulate. Kennedy keeps talking about Canada's hockey superiority, which, I sent him a message on X, and I'll say it again. Congratulations, Kennedy, for being number one at a sport that's the fifth most popular here in North America, right behind NASCAR and right ahead of, cheerleading competitions. But hey, you got to be good at something. So it is, did I fact check it? I fact check it because I watched it on Steven Crowder, and Steven Crowder provides references. And Steven Crowder lived in Canada until he was 9. So I didn't even know that Donnie said it. Steph. But I believe Crowder because Crowder really does go through his stuff pretty well. So it's really a bad look on the Canadians' part. They think that they're doing something. And once again, they are the resist movement of 2016. But I guess you got to be good at something or fill your time with something. I don't know. This is Rick Cast. I'm the aforementioned Rick. Yes, I'm in front of a green screen tonight because I'm trying out different software. I'm using the Rumble package tonight. I like it. I think it runs well. I just got to fine tune some things, and it's gonna be good in that regard. So let's get to our first story of the night. Don't worry, you're not gonna look at me that on the screen that long. Our first story of the night. Let's talk about good old Al Green, and I'm not talking about the singer. I'm talking about the guy with the cane, Al Green. 10 Democrats have joined with Republicans to censure Representative Al Green after his protest during the Trump speech. So, of course, it is one of these things. I think I just spelled something on myself. That's crazy. It's been a wild night for me so far. Anyway, 10 Democrats joined with Republicans to censure Representative Al Green for Trump speech protest. Okay, Steph, fact check milk. Do they allow the export of milk from America into Canada? And also give me your source. If it's Mother Jones, I don't believe it. 10 Democrats joined with House Republicans on Thursday to censure Representative Al Green for his protest during President Donald Trump's address to Congress this week, a format condemning the Texas Democrats' actions. And once again, I have to apologize for the Gulf region, Houston, and the surrounding suburbs, Katy, and all these other places. That's giving us Jasmine Crockett, Al Green, and One-Eyed Dan Crenshaw. So I can't really say much else except the fact that I'm sorry. And I'm really sorry that Houston exists and that it continues to give Texas a bad name, because you had Sheila Jackson Lee from here. I mean, if you could find the worst people on the planet to run for a U.S. congressional seat, you'd find them in the Gulf Coast area of Texas, because there's something in the water. Maybe it's just because the water's really bad down there, but it's really bad that we have all of these this like one little corner and then Austin, and that's just, it's miserable. This vote highlights division within the Democratic Party over how some members protested the president's remarks. Locked out of power in Washington, Democrats are searching to find a compelling, unified message to counter Trump and the new administration, a struggle playing out not only on Capitol Hill, but across the country. So this censure, oh no, Crotchety saying he thought Austin was the only problem city. Pretty much, Texas cities are just cities. They're the same problem that all these other states have. Every city except for Fort Worth, and Fort Worth is, it goes back and forth, is blue. Dallas, Austin, Houston, San Antonio, El Paso, they're all blue. They're all deep blue, and they all have terrible representatives. So we can't really get away from that. As far as now, Austin is the worst because it is the center, it's the capital. We call it Moscow, right? We call it Moscow down here. It is the Moscow version, and it's really bad. It's overcrowded. It's too expensive. The housing, it's overbuilt housing wise, and I think the housing crisis is going to start out of Austin because they've overbuilt down there. But it is what it is in that regard. But Houston is a close second. Houston has a terrible sheriff. Houston has a terrible mayor. Houston has terrible representation, and Houston is just a terrible city. It's really just the worst. It is the worst city to drive through here in the state of Texas, and that's saying something. It's awful. The crime is through the roof. It's terrible. If you are from Houston, you let me know if I'm wrong. I'm not, but you can try to let me know in the comment section down below. And it's interesting that even CNN is highlighting the fact that in 2016, the Democratic strategy was the resist strategy. And it was going to try and make Trump look bad and yell at him constantly and all of these things. And they were going to show him off and he was a tyrant and blah, blah, blah. And it worked in 2016 through 2020, kind of. And then you had Joe Biden for the 4 years and the Democrats running around going crazy. And now Trump, with the popular vote and with his electoral college victory, has a mandate. And he is doing things that the public generally is in favor of. And so the tactics that they're used to, resisting, yelling, stomping their feet, actually they sang "We Shall Overcome" today. All of the old tricks in the book, they're just not working this time. Because A, people are sick of the old ways of doing things. B, Trump has a mandate via the election, his 2024 election. And C, the Democrats, I said this yesterday and I will continue to say it. If the Democrats just act normal, if they just act normal, they would be fine. But they can't do it. They cannot act normal. They just can't do it. They're incapable of doing such a thing. They just can't. And so what they continue to do is to make fools of themselves, to scream and yell and stomp their feet and do the silly little trend that you did, choose your fighter, because they don't have any new ideas. I mean, they haven't had any new ideas since the 60s, but this is the first real time that these ideas are not working. So, of course, Al Green, after getting censured, has decided that the next logical course of action for him is to file articles of impeachment against Donald Trump.
But if they do, it'll give me more time to work on my articles of impeachment.
You're seriously considering introducing articles of impeachment?
I am absolutely going to do it. This level of incivility emanating from the presidency, much of it in policy, is something we cannot tolerate. If President Barack Hussein Obama had behaved in this fashion, he would have been impeached. There is no question in my mind. So I believe that this president cannot escape this one thing that each member of Congress has. 435 of us, we have it. He is a Goliath, but there are 435 Davids in Congress. I'm one of them, and I'm going to bring articles of impeachment.
And the articles would be based on his speech to the joint session?
The articles will be based upon things that have already occurred, not in an indirect sense, but not directly based on that. What he said to the members and to the senator was unacceptable. Then that's incivility. So I think we have to, at some point, use righteous incivility. We cannot allow him to just continue to step on us like that and not have some reasonable, righteous retort.
Yeah. So when I need hard-hitting news and when I announce that I'm going to file the articles of impeachment on somebody, I always go to TMZ as well. So it's good to see that he decided to go to a major news source in order to get that done. But hey, what are you gonna do? But yes, he's gonna do this. He talks about 435 lions, except that the Republicans have control of the House. So that's at least 200 and whatever that are not with him on that. And he's the thing is, we talked about this on the show before, months ago, before I went to Charlotte. So that was back in February. He already filed articles of impeachment for something else. So he already had those set up. So this idea that he's coming out of left field to do this is completely and utterly ridiculous. But once again, it is a symptom of the Democratic Party not having anything else that they can go to. The well is dry right now until they can figure something out. And the problem is we're getting close to that time where people are going to start running again for re-election as far as, the 2026 midterms, right? We're in 2025 right now. That season's going to start emerging. And usually by now, there's some kind of strategy or some kind of motto or some kind of thing that they've all agreed on that's going to be their main source of actually attacking the Democrats and in particular Trump. They tried the Doge thing. People are like, no, I kind of like the government cutting money. They always say, oh, he's going to get rid of Social Security. And with the announcement today that they were, slashing jobs at the Veterans Association, they said, oh, it's going to hurt veterans. And veterans are like, believe me, they can cut all these people and it's not going to affect the actual way things are done. So let's not worry about that. But speaking of election strategies, There's the midterms in 2026, which a lot of Democrats and a lot of Republicans are going to have to scatter to the wind, probably in the fall of this year, to do so, to in order to get that set up. Well, I think it's actually sooner than that. But another person thinking about the 2026 election is none other than the one and the only Gavin Newsom. And even Mother Jones sniffed this out. Gavin Newsom's MAGA drift is here. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. In suggesting that Democrats were wrong about trans athletes and cozying up to MAGA favorites, Newsom's presidential ambitions are more craven than ever. Thank you, Nao, you lady. Thank you. And of course, this is Mother Jones, so you're going to have to take this with about a whole bag of salt. As Donald Trump wages an all-out war on just about every corner of American life, Democrats have appeared nothing short of comatose. Their struggle to respond, which has since seen pink attire and auctioneer-style signs, has instead revealed a party relying on the last dregs of the resistant era politics to pull us through this unending series of crises. Glad to see Mother Jones agrees with my spot-on analysis. But in case you're wondering, the one and only Mr. Gavin Newsom launched a podcast recently, and he's bringing on conservatives, and he's kind of doing the Stephen A. playbook, where you're kind of making the rounds and trying to get people on your side and try to appear more moderate, because the Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton style of campaigning is over. You can't be Bernie Sanders. You can't talk about capping wealth and, universal health care and all these other things. Democrats have to pretend that they believe in the middle once again. They have to pretend to shuffle back to the middle in order to try and win back some of these voters. At least that's what they think. And so Gavin Newsom brought Charlie Kirk on, who never met a paycheck he didn't like, and they get to talking about things. And this is the part of the conversation between the two of them that Mother Jones is freaking out about.
So like you right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports,
right.
that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out say no.
No, and I appreciate
but like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. So that's easy to call out, the unfairness of that.
And that's where everybody's freaking out. He is drifting away from the trans issues, even though he spearheaded it. And when he thought it was copacetic and when he thought it was working for him, he was all about that life. But now that he's trying to run for president, and I'll talk why he has a great shot in a moment, it's one of these things. Let's see what Mother Jones has to say. California Governor Gavin Newsom on Thursday debuted his new podcast, This is Gavin Newsom. The result seems to be an open invitation for the right to embrace a new man. In fact, Newsom in his first episode appears eager to abandon his record of supporting LGBT MAP, cozying up to the likes of Charlie Kirk, and criticize so-called cancel culture, as well as Black Lives Matter. Yes, because he is setting the stage for 2028. And people don't believe me, and they should believe me because I'm correct in this regard, that Gavin Newsom is the most dangerous kind of politician right now. Well, Rick, he's a white guy, and the Democratic Party won't support a white guy. If the shills tell them to support him, they will. If the shills say line up behind Gavin Newsom, they will. And I said it before, Gavin Newsom is a dangerous politician because 95% of the general population does not follow politics like you and I. They just don't. Okay? The election's over. They're whatever is going on in March right now. They're just handing out, doing what they got to do. And they're not worried about it at all. So Gavin Newsom is a tall, conventionally attractive man with a slick smile. He's the kind of guy that can roll into a Nebraska town and cozy up to the soccer moms, and the soccer moms will say, "Oh my gosh, he's a very attractive man. He's very nice. He's got a really nice smile." People will pick presidents for less. People have picked presidents for less. And I'm telling people right now, Gavin Newsom is going to continue to have quote unquote conservatives. I'm sure he'll have Jack Posebic on here and all these other conservatives and other moderates and Stephen Smith and all these other kinds of people, so he can have a record when the time comes. This is the most important part of this podcast, not for views and not for money and not for, this gives him an audio paper trail, if you understand what I'm saying. Meaning, when people try to say, oh, well, you've been against blah, 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 he can say, well, I said this on my podcast, and they can just roll that out. And I said this on my podcast, and he rolls it out. It's perfect. Yeah, will the ultra liberal base of the Democratic Party not be happy? You're right. You're right. But you know what? Snake oil salesmen, they sell. They sell. Your hot dog 990, you are right. He is a modern snake oil salesman. But you know what they do? They sell. Those people know how to make that money. And he's the kind of guy that he could sell his version of, because what was the old saying? Democrats have to run to the middle before they can govern to the left. He can run to the middle all day, and he'll have 2 years of podcasts to back up. So when people say, oh, he's an extreme governor, look what he did to California and all these other things, he can say, well, look, on my podcast when I was talking to Charlie Kirk, on my podcast when I was talking to Jack Bosebic, on my podcast when I was talking to this, that, and the other person, it's actually very smart. It's a very smart strategy, and a lot of people are not seeing it because they're like, oh, J.D. Vance is going to win no problem. The Democrats are looking for somebody like him. They've run 2 women in 3 elections, and the 2 times that the women ran, they got blown out. They cannot run a woman for the next two cycles. They can't run one until AOC runs in 2036, if that's right. Yeah, 2032. Yeah, 2036. It won't happen. They cannot. Maybe they'll throw a female into the vice presidential role because that's a little more acceptable, quote unquote, and it'll fulfill some things. They can put Jasmine Crockett as the VP or whatever the case may be, but he is going to be the front runner. It's going to be him versus Stephen A. Smith. I'm telling you, book it. And he's setting up the audio paper trail as we speak. It's just what it is. And people who are making fun of it, you're not seeing the long game here, folks. You're drunk on the MAGA power trip right now. You're drunk on the fact that Trump's in and he's signing executive orders and J.D. Vance has all these memes about him. Listen, I think J.D. Vance is fine, but you're 6 weeks in, man. You got 3 years left. You got 3 years left, and you got a lot of time for the Democrats when they finally coalesce around Gavin Newsom. And there'll be some complaining, oh, why can't you have a female? Why can't you have it? But they will shut them up just like they did with Joe Biden. Here's the thing, Hot Dog, you're right. He's not there for views. They were there for Charlie. It's perfectly fine. He doesn't care if this thing never tracks because he's building it up for his election. It's one of those things. He doesn't care if he gets anybody. He's trying to build up an audio paper trail for his campaign. So he can show people when they call him an extremist. Oh, he's an extremist Democrat. I was talking to Charlie Kirk and I said that it was unfair for men to compete in women's sports. Does that sound like somebody who's an extremist? Come on, folks. You guys are smart. You guys know. You guys are figuring this out before I am. They're already playing the long game in 2028. They'll let Trump do everything he wants to do right now because right now they're setting on 2028, and this is one of the strategies that they are using. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rickcast. I am Rick in front of my green screen because I'm messing around with some new programs and I wasn't smart enough to figure it out in time. Just be completely honest. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, retweet this, send it out on a different, if you're on the X machine, repost it, take the link and spread it wherever you can to help this show continue to grow. You guys are the only reason it happens because it's not this pretty face. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to our next story of the day. So there was a big rumor that came out, not a rumor, but a report that came out this morning saying that Trump was going to sign an executive order today that was going to get rid of the Department of Education. And we all went, yes, because that's what we want. We want to see all these things get dismantled. Dismantle them and toss them to the side. But apparently he won't because I guess Linda McMahon doesn't know how to do the chokehold. So that's there. So this is from ABC. This was dropped this afternoon. Trump won't sign the executive order to dissolve the Department of Education today. White House on Thursday pulled an expected signing of the executive order to dismantle the Department of Education, multiple sources tell ABC News. The draft of the executive order called on Education Secretary Linda McMahon to facilitate a department closure by taking all necessary steps, quote unquote, permitted by law. Sources earlier told ABC News. The White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt quoted the news report saying it was, quote unquote, fake news and that Trump was expected to sign the order on Thursday. She said he is not signing it. It's one of these things. I'm sure he's getting pushback from Republicans right now because they're worried about the optics. Oh, you're going to take food out of the mouths of children. Oh, you're going to take food out of the mouths of these people. Oh, the typical Republican pushback that they get. But, I mean, this was Linda McMahon at her confirmation hearing, so.
The bottom line is because it's not working. Department of Education was set up in 1980, and since that time we have spent almost $1 trillion, and we have watched our performance scores continue to go down. I do believe that it is a responsibility to make sure that our children do have equal access to excellent education. I think that that is best handled at the state level, closest to the states, working with state administrators, teachers, parents, who should have input into their curriculum.
So that's good. I mean, right? That's what we want. You and I, we watch this show. You're hanging out with me. This is the kind of things that we want. We want to see these departments get shut down, spread them out, get rid of them. I'm a big guy. I want to get rid of the FBI and take the FBI's main function and put it under the U.S. Marshals. You don't need two of them. You can get away with the one, right? You had Triple H and her daughter. Is it Linda? It's not Linda. That's Linda. With Stephanie McMahon behind her. So Triple H like, you want to play the game? You got to get rid of the Department of Education. And then he spits and it's awful. It's crazy. But you might as well. So it's a good time. I would have been shocked if he actually did get rid of it today, because that's something I don't want to say it is a unforced error, but it's something that will get immediate pushback. It's also something when we were talking in the last segment of the program, and even when we were talking about Al Green, the Democrats need things to coalesce around. Eliminating the Department of Education, while you and I would think is an amazing feat, is actually, I think, an unforced error this early in the game for Trump. If he's going to do it after the midterms, right? Do it after the midterms, where there's a little bit of time between the midterms and 2028. Because if you do that, then you give them something to run on. It's the same thing I say about Derek Chauvin and this new out of nowhere campaign by the Daily Wire to pardon Derek Chauvin. Why are they doing it? It's an unforced error. It's going to give the left something to campaign on. And it's going to reignite the entire Black Lives Matter narrative. And I get it, because if you look at the Daily Wire, they're actually suffering a lot of loss of subscribers and things like that. And that's why they're trying to do that. So pardoning Derek Chauvin is the same kind of unforced error that you would see here with the getting rid of or dissolving the Department of Energy, because it's going to give the left the statement of, oh, he's a tyrant. He's getting rid of the Department of Education. He hates kids. He wants your children to be stupid, even though the Department of Education has not helped one child learn anything since its inception. All it's done is turned schools into little welfare centers that rely on school lunch more than anything else. You'll hear they're called Title I schools. I worked at two of them. Title I schools get their funding off of the lunch program. The most important thing you do at one of these Title I schools is take attendance. Why taking attendance? Because they need to have the proper amount of people there, so that way they can get the proper amount of students. They're there so they can get the funding for the lunches. And so they'll tell you got to make sure that your school, that your attendance is done. I don't care what is happening in the classroom. Make sure the attendance gets done. And that's the result of the Department of Education. and the disastrous No Child Left Behind that George W. Bush put into place. There's some things you can do as far as rolling back some initiatives, but anything, the Department of Education is one of those places that you shouldn't touch until the midterms. Now, the Veterans Affairs you can get away with because a lot of veterans are conservative. And then, there's some other departments that you can get rid of, that you can cut, that you can kind of doge through, that will cause a little bit of a disturbance, but you can get away with. Touching the Department of Education is going to ignite the soccer moms. I'm telling you, it's going to ignite the soccer moms. They need to just leave it be until after the midterms. Do everything else. Cut everything else. Be like Ghostface and slash everything in the budget. Just be careful around the Department of Education. If anybody's watching the show that hangs out with the Trump administration, be careful with the Department of Education, because it's an unforced error that will allow the left to coalesce around an issue and run against you in 2026. Just like pardoning Derek Chauvin. Do I think Derek Chauvin should probably be pardoned? Yeah, I do. But do I think that the current setup favors Trump? No, it doesn't. Because all it's going to do is take Derek Chauvin out of a federal prison here in Texas and throw him back into Minnesota under tampon Timmy Waltz. Leave those alone. Leave them alone. Try to use a scalpel around the edges. But the Department of Education, if I was advising the president, leave it be. Leave it be for now. And, once there's a huge ruckus about something else, then start cutting things around the Department of Education. Don't come in and get rid of it now. Go in and get rid of the ATF or something else like that. But don't get rid of the Department of Education, because it is an unforced error that they will use against him. And I know you're saying, oh, well, they'll use it against him anyway. There's things that they'll use against him, and then there's things you set up on a platter. This isn't one of those. Don't do that. Not a great idea. All right, this is Rickcast. I am Rick, and I am very happy that you are looking at my green screen tonight. I will have this fixed within a week or two, and hopefully it won't be longer than a couple days. But you're looking at me, and I'm looking at you. And if you like the show, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment in the comment section down below on X or on YouTube or on Rumble or on any of these places. And that's another thing I like about using the Rumble screen, is that I'm able to get Rumble comments into here as well. So I like the program. I do like the Rumble program. I think Rumble is more friendly to creators than YouTube. And if you talk to some of the big players, the idea is that YouTube, it's not dead, but it's approaching Facebook status at this point, and you don't want to be one of the people on the inside out. X, Rumble, locals, those are the future. YouTube right now is scraping by pretty much on its legacy at this point. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I know I need to get purple, right? So I can be in Lent, my lentil colors. That was fantastic. Oh, I love it. That's right. Ordinary time, Brian. Ordinary time. Last story of the day. You guys are crazy. I love this so much. Make me smile. All right. This segment of the program is called Rick Roast Reality Shows, because that's really all I do. And we have yet another one to roast today, and that would be wonderful Meghan Markle. Oh, Meghan Markle, you're so adorable and awful, and nobody likes you. And I guess the way to actually get a reality show nowadays is to just be one of the worst people in the world. I'm honestly, I think that's just how you get one. You're an awful person, and I guess they think that because you're an awful person, you people will be attracted to watch it. Now, my wife has watched this show all day because she's been helping out with some things, and she's been working, and in her off time she's been watching this, and she's watching it, and every time I come in and see her, she's like, I don't know why I'm watching this show. It's terrible. It's awful. It's not even one of those it's so bad it's good things. And it's just another example of Meghan Markle, who has she had some success on one TV show, and that apparently meant that she was going to be successful at other things. She wasn't good at podcasting. She wasn't good at these other movies or anything. The woman is illiterate. And this is coming from a guy in front of a green screen because I don't know how to figure this out. But the fact of the matter is, this is how entertaining her show is. It's not very entertaining, and I had to watch it, so now you do.
I don't think anyone in the world knows that Meghan Markle has eaten Jack in the Box and loves it.
It's so funny, too, that you keep saying Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now. You have kids, and you go, no, I share my name with my children.
Yes.
And that feels so, I didn't know how meaningful it would be to me, but it just means so much to go, this is our family name.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was tightening the noose around my neck trying to watch that. But this idea, I don't think she birthed those kids either because she was pregnant for like 17 months. She was pregnant for 17 months and then all of a sudden she just stopped being pregnant. And the fact is that she wants the title now that she doesn't have any responsibility, now that she's ruined. One of the most, like him or not, Harry was one of the most popular guys in the world. He was kind of rugged. He flew helicopters, he had guns and he had all this other kind of stuff. And he was kind of, he was the jokey brother of the future king and everybody thought that was funny. And then he got this, he is the guy that your buddy dates and everybody knows in the friend group that that's not the girl for you. Much like the girls, when your girl dates a guy and you're like, oh, that guy's bad. Everybody and their mother knew that Meghan Markle was trouble when she showed up. And yet, somehow, it worked. But it's not working now because every single thing they do is an absolute disaster. So Meghan Markle's new lifestyle Netflix series, which is kind of a waste of time because you can watch those on YouTube for free, or, your subscriber data. With Love, Meghan, terrible title, is being slammed by critics in the British press following its Tuesday debut on streaming service, making the latest media venture by Markle and her husband, Prince Harry, to struggle to connect with viewers. All 8 episodes of With Love, Meghan premiered Tuesday following a delay during the Los Angeles wildfires in January, with the royal couple's latest project for Netflix as part of their deal worth $100 million. In each episode, Markle invites a celebrity friend, i.e., we will pay you to come hang out, and they can only get Mindy Kaling, which, that's not great, into her home, which she offers tips about homemaking and cooking, which has drawn comparisons from several critics to the work of lifestyle guru Martha Stewart, except Martha Stewart is a criminal and has a personality, unlike Meghan Markle, who just looks like a raging bitch. Sorry, I don't mean to cuss. It's just this. It is. Some of Markle's celebrity guests include actress writer Mindy Kaling, her former Suits co-star Abigail Spencer. I don't know who that is. Argentine athlete and influencer. Yep, now you're reaching into Argentina. That's not great. And 2 people nobody's ever heard of. Many reviewers, particularly in the British press, were critical of the show. The independent critic Katie Rosinski gave the series a 1-star rating out of 5, calling the series queasy and exhausting. Imagine that, being a person that actually has to actually review reality shows. I would probably be miserable. Stating that it strains for aspirations and reliability in a way that never gels. So, good luck, dear, sweet Meghan Markle, because you are just not it. Some people try, and you're just not it, girl. I'm sorry. It's pretty sad to watch because she is so desperate. My wife was talking to me about this, and my wife she's watching these shows, and she's just so desperate to be liked. And I think about it, and I go, I don't think she wants to be liked, honey. I just think she wants to be relevant. And she's so desperate to appear relevant that it comes off as desperation. You can smell it. You can smell the desperation that they're trying to just be accepted and to be liked. And the problem is nobody like you because you're not nice people. And so it's not one of these things that is going to work out for her, and it's going to be a continuation of this losing streak that she's had. So, if you think your life is bad, just know that you're not married to Meghan Markle. And I'm saying that to women and men. You're not married to Meghan Markle, so your life could be a lot worse. All right, folks, that's it from the green screen. Thank you for hanging out with me on Rickcast. Please like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell to be notified when the show goes live every weeknight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be hanging out with you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time as well on Friday. Yep, it's going to be Friday. We're off. We're done with our first week of Lent, ladies and gentlemen. Well, not really first week, first couple days, but we are done with this week. And I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Hopefully, this will be figured out. You're tuning in to see if I'm technologically smart enough to figure out a green screen. Will I? Won't I? You're just going to have to tune in to find out. I'll talk to you all tomorrow, folks. This is Rickcast. I'm Rick. God bless. And Viva Cristo Rey.